This is the limitless Keith Lee.
This is Brody King.
This is Angel Garza.
Will Ospreay.
Hornswoggle.
Pentagon Jr.
The Mexican Rey Fenix.
King Ricochet.
Concrete Rose, Sunny Kiss.
And I'm here to ask you to stop what you're doing, take just one moment, and bask in the glory of the Busted Wide Open.
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 Boston wide open.
Busted wide open. Thank you.
You're listening to the Busted Wide Open podcast, dropping the elbow on the hottest topics in sports entertainment and the world of professional wrestling. With your hosts, Nick Howell and Sir Ian Dangerous. Coming to you from the Orbital Jigsaw Network Arena in sunny Southern California. Welcome everybody to BWO Live, coming to you from across the Busted Wide Open universe of Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook. This is episode number 332 of Busted Wide Open. My name is Nick Howell.
And currently shipping Alexa's doll Lily and Naya's doll Reginald and some really weird and sticky fanfic. I am Sir Ian Dangerous, and welcome to the show. Yes, everybody, it is Busted Wide Open, here to discuss Monday Night Raw, which went on the air last night. And, well, Nick, let's just put it this way. People have started to rebel against how bad Raw is getting.
Whatever do you mean?
Well, we'll discuss it. We'll talk about everything that happened last night on Raw, or rather didn't happen.
So the WWE
happen,
universe is in open rebellion. Is that what you're saying?
Well, not only the WWE universe, but also people like us, people on podcasts. They're moving the only ones left who are doing live shows, live Raw recaps now are Fightful and Simon Miller. They're the last ones that I know of that are doing live shows on Monday. Everyone else is like, screw it, we'll do it Tuesday, like us. Although, we do it because we have jobs. But but yeah, people are finally, they're throwing in the towel. They're like, we can't. It's 3 hours, and it's 3 hours of that's just not enjoyable to watch. But here's the thing, Nick. We are a positively minded show. We do attempt to find the light in the darkness. We try to parse through the things that aren't working and figure out what could make it work. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to look at Raw and say, what isn't working? Why isn't it working? And what could they possibly do to fix it? Along with a nice healthy dose of a little bit of bitching. Yeah. But Nick, before we do any of that, of course, we've got to do a little business. And then we'll get into dissecting Monday Night Raw.
Indeed. Linktree.com/BWO. That's it. That's the business. That's all we got to do. Linktree.com/BWO. The things with the future and tech are amazing. You can get into so much automation. You can get into so much simplicity when you get into linktree.com/BWO. We've got brand new merch. Some of you have gotten some big drops already. Thank you guys so much for picking up some of the new BWO Funhouse merch. We're going to be adding additional items very soon, probably either later this week or next week, with some more of the logos and some more of the tune variations and things like that. You guys will begin to see those trickle in throughout the month of June as we roll on through the year. By the way, holy shit, it's June already. It's June. So yes, I had to throw that in as part of the business. Jay Wolf threw in 100 bits and said, because you guys are awesome for watching this rawful stuff.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you,
yes. As they say, Raw is poor. As opposed to Raw is poor. I'll show myself. That's okay.
I just want to start playing
stop.
The song.
The days of yore.
Cal Cotton threw in 100 bits, said, just want to say God bless Ian and Nick for suffering through Raw with us despite the awesome triple threat on NXT right now.
Oh, stop it.
For God's sakes, they broke Simon.
Did they break Simon too? Did he fall? Did he blink as well?
I'm wondering if there's some collusion going on here. Are we going to be the last bastion of holding on to Monday Night Raw?
No, people are doing it on Tuesday. I'm saying they're not doing it Monday nights anymore. They're not doing like right out, like, you know how we go out live right after SmackDown on Friday night? The thing that's special about
Simon, and he's in the UK, he normally has to stay up till, what would that be, 6 a.m.
He's
to watch
an animal.
It, then do his recap video, and then maybe he gets to go to bed. It usually premieres on Tuesdays at 10 a.m. my time.
Have you seen him? That's just when he works out. That's why he's so jacked. He just works out for all 3 hours of Raw, and then he's just massively swole. But No, it wouldn't surprise me if Simon blinked too. It's just it's getting to the point now where it's just better to the next day we want to check out Raw. I work Monday nights. You got stuff to do Monday nights. We check it out the next day. Right, got some time to just kind of take a break, walk away, do some other stuff. Got some other work to do. Come back, write the rest of the show, and then we can sit down and do the show tonight and let everyone know what happened last night.
Yeah.
So it just this is the way that keeps us sane. It keeps us sane.
We've been doing it for the longest time now, but
it is. But that being said, thank you to everyone for listening to us while we do Raw on Tuesdays. If you're here right now with us live on the Twitch, on Facebook, on YouTube, thank you for joining us right now. I see all y'all in the chat there. I see you. You guys are awesome. Simon almost turned it off, Kyle says. Yeah, well, but he didn't, did he? Nor did we. No. Watch the whole thing. Watch the whole thing. And we'll talk about that in a second. But thank you also to our patrons, patreon.com/BWO. You guys are amazing. We love you so much. You are the phenomenal ones. We cannot thank you enough for supporting our show. If you want to become a patron, head on over. You can just sign up for the $5 tier, gets you access to show notes. You can ask questions on the mailbag episode, which comes up right after this very episode here. And, of course, you can play in our Patrons Pick'ems Challenges 4 times a year at the Big 4 pay-per-view for WWE. So please help support the show. Go to patreon.com/BWO. You are doing us a huge solid because we're watching Raw for you,
Bits and subs here on Twitch. Raw. You can do super chats and memberships over on YouTube. And hey, those of you that are watching over on YouTube, did you know there was a 99-cent tier where you can unlock all the emojis and everything? I bet you didn't, because I bet you hadn't clicked that join button to check it out yet. But you should. Click the join button. You can see all of that for 99 cents. That's one of the best ways to support it. You get access to all the emojis and badges and stuff over on YouTube. Plus, at the higher tiers, you get some of the same perks that we do on Patreon. So for the $5 tier, you too can send in questions for the weekly mailbag. For the $10 tier, you too can watch and listen to the bonus episodes every single month. Ooh, so check those out, youtube.com/bustedwideopen. I'm excited about YouTube. I'm excited we're back getting into YouTube again. We had a little bit of a hiatus there for a few months.
A falling out.
And yeah, we weren't liking some of the things YouTube were doing, but they have totally redeemed themselves. So if for some reason you find Twitch to be difficult and you're more of a YouTube person, they're back. And they've unlocked a lot of the stuff, and we're back with them. So without further ado, Ian,
Nick, it's like you were saying, we were disappointed in YouTube, and you could say that we were disappointed in Raw as well. Hopefully Raw, like YouTube, comes back into our good graces. But until then, we got to talk about what happened last night on Monday Night Raw.
Oh, goodness. Well, the big story of the night was, as it usually is, the main event. Last week we had a number 1 contenders match to see who would be going up against going up for the WWE Championship at Hell in a Cell this month, which just still feels weird. I haven't gotten over that. But at the end of it last week, Lashley and MVP were at the top celebrating with their ladies.
And don't call them hoes. Don't call them hoes.
I had no intention of saying that word until you did. So thank you.
Good. Well, I'm just saying, don't do it because MVP will call you out on Twitter and insult your mother and her sisters.
Oh, well, I mean, that makes up for it. Sure. Yes. Anyway, so because MVP and Bobby Lashley got involved and DQ'd the finish last week, Adam Pearce said, we're running it back again. We're going to do it again this week. So Drew McIntyre, Kofi Kingston, with the stipulation from Adam Pearce that if Bobby Lashley or MVP gets involved, Bobby Lashley will be suspended for 90 days.
No pay.
Without pay.
No money. No money. None of that championship money that he supposedly is getting. Okay, cool. So we're basically going to have a straight up the match we thought we were having for 20 minutes last week. We're actually going to have this week. Thanks, WWE. Gosh. Thank you. So wait, the 20 minutes I invested last week, you're telling me were irrelevant, but I get to reinvest them this week in the exact same match. Thank you.
In the hopes that you weren't going to do it again and cry wolf again, and I was going to believe you.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
But before we get into this, Nick, before we really talk about what happened here, let's take a step back and introduce Jimmy Smith. Now, introduce, I say in the loosest term, because he has done some commentating for NXT. Yep. He's been dipping his toes in WWE for a minute now. And the man has also been involved in combat sport announcing for a minute. He's worked for Bellator. He's worked for UFC. And now he's picking up where Adnan Virk left off when he departed the company, and he stepped right into that middle announcer chair. Before we get into the show, Nick, let's talk about him. What did you think about his performance across the show last night?
He's no Michael Cole. He's no Tom Phillips. But damn if he didn't do a hell of a good job on his first night.
I was just going to say, I don't expect him to be on his first night.
He knew all the moves. He called the play-by-play. He teed up Graves and Saxton. He intermingled with all of them seamlessly. The chemistry and the vibe was there. I think I even sent you a text. Hey, Jimmy did pretty good tonight.
Jimmy did good tonight.
So there's hope.
Yes. I didn't know who you meant at the time. I was in the middle of getting my ass kicked at work, and all of a sudden I get Jimmy did good tonight. I'm like,
who? What's Jimmy Uso doing on Raw?
Jimmy, little Jimmy did good. Are you watching Raw Talk with R-Truth? I don't know.
I thought he did. I thought he did really good.
He did totally. Honestly, what it showed to me was, with a little bit of settling in, he's going to be fantastic. Yep. He had some fantastic calls, some great lines, some great transitions. He said some good throws to Corey and Saxton. There was one really awkward one where he just caught Saxton totally off guard, and Saxton was just having the camera was on him. And he goes, "What do you think, Byron?" And Byron goes, "Well, the thing is, the matter of the fact is, and the fact of the matter, and he totally caught Saxton off
camera
guard.
Right on him too. I loved it.
That's it. You just watch Saxton just flounder like a fish.
Awkward thing with my hands while I think about what I'm gonna say.
It was the first night. It's okay. It's not like Adnan Virk where we were sitting there going like, oh, this guy is trying his ass off, but this is just not his milieu. He doesn't know what he's doing.
He also had a very neutral kind of tone to his voice that didn't have this kind of weird quality to it. That made you just kind of meme at the sound of it just without any of the words coming out of it. But he sat right in the pocket with Graves and Saxton. It was really nice. I enjoyed it.
Agreed. I did enjoy it as well. I can't say that I really enjoyed the build or the main event that the build was for on the show. However, we had Drew McIntyre cutting a promo on Kofi, Kofi cutting a promo back, Bobby Lashley in the back with his ladies cutting a promo on both of them, saying it doesn't matter which one comes out. I'm going to beat either one of them at Hell in a Cell. Typical stuff. Nick, we finally reached the point. Drew McIntyre is boring me. His promo, I had to go back. I had to watch it a second time, and then now I'm having to remind myself what he said, because that's how dull his promo was. It was essentially saying that, hey, I respect Kofi. He's got a similar story to me. He tried for a long time to get the title. He finally got it, just like me. The difference is that he lost to Brock Lesnar in 7 seconds, and I beat him. And that's the exciting version of that speech. Is that succinct version I just gave. He was rambling. He was mumbling. He was making jokes that only he got. And at the very end of it, he told the poor little announcer to bugger off. Well, he buggered off to go find Kofi Kingston, who said, wow, Drew went low, did he? He went and talked about my Brock Lesnar, huh? Well, guess what, Drew? I beat Bobby Lashley, a guy who you haven't been able to beat in the whole 3 months. And I sat there, Nick, going, was that really a get? Did you just get Drew? He's beaten Lashley like multiple times, Kofi, and you beat him because Drew hit him in the head with a cane. Is that really a get? Did you really? That's what they had for you to get Drew back?
Oh boy.
Oof. It was awkward. It was bad. Kofi,
it's no Kofi mania, that's for sure.
He seemed happy-go-lucky about it, but it felt like it felt immature. It felt like sniping. It didn't feel like two grown-ass men who actually respected each other about to have a feud to see who's going to get a championship title shot. It didn't feel like that. It felt childish. Yep. And then we actually had the match, and it was a good match, much like last week. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong.
No, I thought both of these were fantastic. I didn't need to see it twice.
Exactly. Here's the other problem that I had with this match. It was, from all respects, a well-worked match. It was fine. From a technical standpoint, totally fine. We had Kofi doing the babyface comebacks. We had Drew being a monster, and Kofi picking at his leg to try to take him down, or his arm, who's going after. But at the end of the day, if a work of art is hanging in a motel room, even if it's a well-painted picture, it's still just it's for just consumer consumption. It's for the average, middle of the road consumer. It's not that interesting at the end of the day. It's there to just be a piece of the scenery. And that's what this match felt like. It felt like a motel painting. It didn't feel like something that you would want to go put in a gallery. And part of that was the end, which saw Drew beat Kofi straight up. Now, it was cool. He claymored him out of the air as Kofi was jumping off the top turnbuckle.
Looked great. They showed it in slow motion. It's fantastic.
Yeah, looked great. Looked brutal. All right. But Drew's going to Hell in a Cell. They shook hands afterwards. Bobby Lashley at the top of the ramp, posing with the belt. All right. Drew versus Lashley.
So was this the go-home show? Because it felt like the end of a go-home show. Is the pay-per-view on Sunday and I just don't know it?
Nope. We've got, 2-3 weeks left?
3 more weeks of this.
To have Drew and Lashley build to Hell in a Cell and probably add a cell stipulation.
There'll probably be a contract signing. There'll probably be a cell stipulation. I wouldn't be surprised if they somehow figure out how to get Kofi involved in it again.
So you have the two baby faces for this acting like childish heels. And then at the end, we've got Drew finally facing down Lashley again for the third time in as many months, if not a little longer. And then if we go to Hell in a Cell and it's in a cell, how do you have Drew lose and continue the program? And if you have Drew win, then what? Why would you not have Drew win in front of a crowd? The booking here is, Nick, explain it to me.
I wouldn't have done this until SummerSlam. I've been pretty vocal about it.
It's crazy. Why not have Kofi step in for a couple of pay-per-views? Have Drew step back.
I'm pretty sure SummerSlam's Houston, right? And it's going to be in Houston. Massive venue,
gonna be huge.
50, 60,000 people. Coronate Drew.
Huge.
Why are you doing this now?
It's a classic can't keep it in our pants thing. I don't understand. Do you want to get back in front of crowds with Drew as your champion? Or do you want to coronate him in front of a crowd, which might get a better reaction? Yeah. Are they afraid that people might not cheer Drew as much as they want because Lashley's a fairly popular heel champ?
I mean, if it's any indication, they're having trouble selling Raw tickets in Texas right now.
Oof. That says something.
Yep.
So it's weird because Kofi versus Lashley would be a fun program. It'd be an interesting program. I think a lot of people wanted to see that program, including MVP and Lashley have gone on record saying they wanted to see it. But no, we get Drew again. And you and I both are fans of Drew. We're fans of Lashley, fans of Kofi, but this is snore booking. Thank you, Dog
Exactly.
Ziggler. I agree. He's pissed too. Yeah. I
love that you and I can talk to Dog Ziggler like certain members of the Star Wars universe could talk to droids.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Like Ray could talk to BB-8, but nobody else understood. We understand Dog Ziggler.
Right, exactly. Yeah, but if the Shield is up, why would they still be, Yeah. Exactly. All right, so will Drew win at Hell in a Cell, I guess is the first question. If he does, what does that mean? Who does he face after that? Like, who's his
Do they run it back again for SummerSlam? Lashley and Drew? Somehow?
People are going to crap all over it by that point. They're already crapping on it. They're already saying, look, give it a breather. Give it some space.
Is there no one else you can send up against Lashley?
Is there no one else? It's wild. And the answer is there's tons of people you can send against Lashley.
What happened?
Right. He lost that triple threat and he goes bye-bye.
We haven't seen him in a month.
He's got a pit bull to raise. She's really cute, by the way.
Yes, she is.
She's really cute.
Dog Ziggler thinks so as well, I'm assuming.
Oh, don't even ask Dog Ziggler about her. He's got a little crush. I'm like, she's too young for you. She's too young for you, dude. She's too young. Besides, you're snipped. You can't do anything.
Listen, speaking for those folks, that means nothing.
Yeah, you can be snipped, but when you're missing everything, it's a little bit more effectual.
Yeah, right. How are you supposed to impress the ladies, right?
So we're griping about the main event. It was disappointing. Obviously, like, hey, Drew's going back for the championship. Maybe he'll win it. We like Drew. That's fine, but there's something about this that feels stale. There's something about this that feels like they had better options, more exciting options. And if they're trying to get out of this pattern of repetition and redundancy on Raw, this was not the way to do it.
I hate to say this.
To end this match,
Lashley feels like is him let me put this out there. Is Lashley being the champion the problem here? Is that the thing we're not talking about?
I could say demonstratively no if he still had the Hurt Business around him, because that was a great faction and a fascinating thing. But we already got rid of that. And now we have Lashley and MVP as the modern Godfather, but you can't say that because MVP gets offended if you say that. But hey, the one time I've seen someone be offended at being compared to a Hall of Famer. So, at the end of the day, I don't think it's Lashley. I don't. Okay. I don't think it's Lashley. I think that in part it's Drew. It's having Drew be a championship match cockblock.
It's been all Drew all the time for the last 18 months, pretty much.
Anybody else wants to get a shot at the title, Drew just waltzes on them. No, it's time for me to have another one. And everyone else is like, well, but I want a shot. And Drew goes, fine, you got to get through me. And then he gets a title shot again. And we're sitting here going, oh, my God, Drew just is going to keep doing this until he gets the title. I really hope MVP beats him at Hell in a Cell. Is like, you don't get to challenge me again for a long time. If that's the story, if that's what they go for, then you know what? Cool. But how you're getting there is sucking. Yep.
Let me catch up real quick. What do we got? Kyle throwing 100 bits said Jimmy Smith called a damn single leg shot. Been waiting 20 years for someone on pro wrestling commentary to call that amateur wrestling move to me. He's already the second best play-by-play guy they've ever had in the last 20, not named Cole or JR, in my opinion. I mean, that doesn't leave too many of the other guys.
I don't disagree. Yeah. He's got the background. He's got
real potential to be the next big play-by-play center man at the desk.
Yep, agreed.
That was a spoiler alert. That was going to be my moment of positivity tonight. That's a breath of fresh air.
It's gotta be mine too.
Because there wasn't much cal but we'll get to that. Cal threw another 100 bits said Drew has officially gone full Cena with his booking and character. I loved Cena growing up, but this is exactly like Cena at his driest from 2008 to 2010. Kofi was the obvious person to win here. Feud Drew with Braun. Yes. Keep Bobby away from the title. Keep Bobby away from the title? I don't think you meant to say that. You're repeating the sins of Cena and Roman with Drew.
The dark times of Roman and definitely the dark times of Super Cena as well. Could not agree more. More. Yeah, this is the stuff that got Cena booed, and it's crazy that they're doing it now for arguably the fourth time. Yep. I mean, this is the booking. I mean, Stone Cold got over this booking, but that was you had a whole different character there. Hogan did this as well.
Yep.
This is not new. This is classic Vince booking 101. Unfortunately, he's never learned that people freaking hate this. We really hate this. And, he's never going to learn because he's done it so many times now.
Kyle threw in another 100 bits said Kofi and Priest would have been ideal filler feuds for Lashley until SummerSlam to get it back on Drew. Feud Drew with Braun to keep him fresh. Yeah. I agree. Where's Braun? I don't know. That's just it. I'm with you. I'm not completely over Drew yet because I do have massive man crush on Drew, but I'm getting there quicker than I wanted to.
Yep. I'm hoping that the crowds in there live telling them how they feel helps. I'm hoping it helps because we're starting to see what happens when you're left in a big room where you control the sound and how many people cheer. We're starting to see that just Vince being in an echo chamber. Yep. Starting to see it happen. It's starting to get a little too pronounced. Yep. Also getting pronounced is how they don't seem to understand the Shayna Baszler character, or at least what her potential is. Shayna Baszler had her match with Reginald because she was mad that Reggie keeps getting involved in their matches, hers and Nia's, that is. Reginald told Nia to stay in the back. He's got this, came out, and was able to dodge out of Shayna's way for a little bit until she finally caught him and started to systematically destroy his knee, which was awesome. He was able to escape a little more, get a little bit more offense in, but she just finally grounded him and just started tearing apart his leg. Finally got him in the Kirifuda clutch. It looked like it was all over, but then Pyro went off again as though Kane was coming to the ring. Shayna Baszler got distracted and then rolled up, victory roll for Reginald, and he won. Shayna Baszler has to be the most rolled up, pinned person in WWE at this point. I haven't looked at the stats, but she's got to be at this point. It's ridiculous how much she loses to a roll up. or just a sudden. I mean, she could at this point. She could honestly be a 24/7 champion with how much she gets rolled up like this.
Do you guys remember a few months ago when I was upset that Bianca Belair and Sasha were mixing it up with Nia and Shayna for some inexplicable reason? And
yes,
like all of the, and so my vitriol for the way that they've been mishandling, like NXT hated the mishandling of the women's tag division so much they went and created their own. They're like, nah, we're good. We don't want anything to do with that shenaniganry that you guys are doing. This has been going on for months, and I didn't think my disdain for what they were doing with Shayna and Nia could get any worse. There was a glimmer of hope last week that with Shayna grabbing a hold of Reginald and saying, if you got the stones, you can face me in the ring next week. And I was like, all right, well maybe this is how they kick off the breakup angle. Okay, let's see where this goes. Nope. I didn't know it was possible for me to get even more mad at the Shayna and Nia stuff, but I'm
But wait,
pissed.
Nick. But wait, there's more. There's more, Nick, because later on, Alexa Bliss and Lily were hanging out in the Alexa's playground, and she says, "Oh, we'd really like to meet Reginald." And Nia asks a limping Reginald if he's sure he wants to go to Alexa's place because she's really weird. And he was like, "Yeah, I'm cool. I got it." He goes in there, sits down with Alexa on her swing. She says, "You're really awesome. We love you. Hey, tell us all about Cirque du Soleil." And before he can do that, Shayna Baszler blindsides him, destroys him in 10 seconds, because she couldn't do that in the ring. Destroys him in 10 seconds, sits down on the swing in his place, stares at Alexa and says, "You and I need to have a little chat. How about in the ring next week?" And then gets down on her knees, stares Lily right in the face and goes, "You're a stupid doll." And then leaves. Alexa Bliss also mentions that Lily doesn't like Shayna. So Shayna Baszler versus Alexa Bliss next week. We're finally getting Alexa out of the playground. Good thing. We're getting Shayna looking like an absolute monster in the second half of the show when she destroys Reginald and threatens Alexa. With her leather jacket on, she looked awesome. Best Shayna
and
we've seen
her
in months.
entrance music back finally. We don't have to listen to Nia's shit.
Great. Good stuff. I'm happy about all of that. Shayna versus Alexa Bliss next week. I'm already smelling doom a mile away, Nick. I am terrified. Terrified. Because I feel like there's a perception backstage that Shayna has a legitimate badassery to her, and that's her character. They don't know how to properly display that in ring. They don't know how to make her a convincing badass other than she's playing a badass. But they can't actually book her to follow through with that in a general sense. But in their minds, in storylines, Shayna is one of the more badass women there is in the women's division. So how better to show that Alexa Bliss is a force to be reckoned with than by have her destroy Shayna next week. And I fear that is what's going to happen. And if it does, where does that leave Shayna?
Can I make it worse?
Sure.
It's technically Shayna versus Lily the doll. Because Lily is the one firing the pyro.
Yeah, but she challenged Alexa. Also, I love the fact that they don't go beat up the pyro guy like Undertaker after Elimination Chamber. They go after Alexa. Like, she just knows, I know it's Alexa that's sending these fireballs out there. Not the pyro guy.
Yeah.
Anyway, obviously, kayfabe, fine. Kayfabe. Yeah. But at the end of the day, next week, I feel like they're going to spend Shayna like a once shiny dollar coin. And that worries me. That worries me that we're heading down an even worse road for her. Because if she splits up with Nia, which it seems like she's going to because Nia loves Reginald, we thought Alexa might be going for Nia, but apparently all those times that she attempted to murder Reginald with the pyro, she was doing it just to distract Shayna so Shayna could get pinned. I don't know, whatever. Hashtag WWE logic.
Don't care. It's just,
Yeah,
I'm at a point where I just... you had so much potential with the Alexa Bliss Fiend thing at WrestleMania and the crown of black goo. Like, where in the hell is that? Where is all this stuff? Why is she sitting on a swing set?
Yeah. Why, again, I go back to why couldn't the Fiend have beaten Randy Orton? Then Alexa turns on him after the match and then sends him away. And then she can then be even more terrifying because she was able to send away the Fiend that Randy Orton couldn't send away. I mean, just saying, not saying, just saying. This is the apparently from what I saw on social media, this segment and what they did with Shayna and all of this was the straw that broke a lot of backs for Raw, at least for this week. That being said, we need to catch up.
Yeah, a little bit.
Jay
Wolf threw in 100 bits. Thank you, sir. Said, this is Shayna, the athlete who was the longest-running NXT champion and an absolute monster in NXT. Shayna, who bit a chunk out of Becky and went on to defeat all 6 women in the Elimination Chamber. They now have her jobbing out to Reginald and cutting a promo in a puppet. On a puppet.
To a former Cirque du Soleil clown.
I mean this with all sincerity, Vince. Well said, Jay.
Yeah.
Well said, Jay.
I've seen a lot of that.
Kyle threw in 100 bits as well. Said they did this exact same thing with Kane with the build to WrestleMania 20 with Undertaker, and it was great. The difference being Kane didn't lose to friggin' non-wrestler jobbers in the build because of spooky BS. You could have had Shayna confront Alexa because she put 2 and 2 together from the match, and it would actually make this interesting instead of insulting. This Alexa stuff and the treatment of Shayna.
And here's the thing is that Shayna losing in the match and being pissed and having that be the motivation to have her go back and confront Alexa, that logically works. I'm not actually mad at her losing to Reginald in a general sense because it does feed the idea that she would go then confront Alexa and be like, you're the one causing me to lose. And she did destroy Reginald in doing so, which, I guess in some booking sense redeems the match. Not really, but fine. Okay. I can see the logic there. What I'm frustrated about here is it looks like we're heading towards Shayna putting over Alexa and then possibly just going away. That's my beef.
Yeah.
That's where I'm most concerned. And I can see why people would be concerned about losing to Reginald, et cetera, et cetera. That all fed into a later story that could have worked, as Kyle's saying here.
Yeah.
So.
That's it. We're caught up.
Nick,
Oh, yep. We're good.
But Nick, there's more in the women's division that we're going to grouse about. There's going to be a bit of grousing on the show tonight. We apologize in advance. So last week, Rhea Ripley got, I won't say she was fooled into it, but she definitely kind of led herself into a beat the clock challenge against Nikki Cross.
It's a bit of a boondoggle.
Yeah, she kind of let herself be put into that position. And could not beat Nikki in 2 minutes. Her emotions got the best of her. She stomped a mud hole into Nikki for a little bit too long and lost the match. A fact which Charlotte did not want to let her forget as she came out for a segment on Miz TV. Wait, what? Did I just say Miz TV, Nick?
Yes, you did. Wasn't he a zombie?
Did. Wasn't he eaten alive on pay-per-view in plain view of all of us? Not 2 weeks ago? Now, I know we've recently had AJ Styles come back from being buried alive the next day, and we bitched about that, but I'm going to bitch about it here again. While Miz and Morrison did do a cute job of playing it off, Morrison was wearing a necklace of garlic and saying, this is just for anything supernatural that comes along, vampires, aliens, plumbers, whatever. And Miz said, yeah, that match. Oh, that match. I got injured. For the first time in my long career, I got injured. But I'm still back. So they kind of just went like, not a big deal. Ha ha, lol, kayfabe. Don't mind us while we insult your intelligence. Hey, good times. Do you see Army of the Dead? Great movie. Totally not. Movie's garbage. Don't watch it. He's just back. Like nothing happened. Knee brace under his pants. Can't really walk, but he's back. Okay. Charlotte comes out, says, lol, Rhea lost Nikki Cross last week. Rhea comes out, says she's not a vampire, but she is a nightmare. She'll become Charlotte's nightmare at Hell in a Cell. Charlotte, you should try to beat Nikki Cross. And Charlotte goes, I could beat her in 1 minute. And Nikki comes out and goes, how do you give it your best shot? And she slaps Charlotte in the face. And Charlotte goes, why, you little troll? And then we get a beat the clock challenge for 2 minutes. Not 1 minute, like Charlotte just said, but 2 minutes. Oops. But whatever, it didn't matter, because Nikki spent the whole first minute running around the outside of the ring. And the second part was Charlotte jaw-jacking at Rhea, who was sitting outside the ring laughing. Then 15 seconds of offense, and Charlotte does what Rhea did last week and loses to Nikki Cross. Nikki Cross came out and said, I deserve a title shot. She's now beaten the champion and the number one contender. Does that not mean she should be in the I mean, she should be in this match, right? She should be inserted into the match.
Beaten them. They failed to execute on a dare. Neither one of them were pinned or submitted by Nikki Cross.
All right, Pritchard. Fine, you can explain it away if you want.
Does Nikki Cross deserve to be in this title shot? No.
Was it obnoxious that we saw
Charlotte? Leave everything else alone. That's all we ask for.
Here's the thing. I'm not mad at the idea that Nikki Cross, like they're jumping through hoops and they're trying to one up each other, and I love the fact that Nikki's getting TV time and she's doing something. All of that's good.
No,
right?
It's not.
What's not good? You love Nikki.
I love Nikki Cross.
She's getting TV time.
Why overbook this? It sells itself. What are they doing?
You'd think so, but they haven't defined Rhea at all.
How's Nikki going to help?
Rhea is just. Well, hopefully she was going to show that last week she showed that Rhea's got a temper. That helps. This week, Rhea just was a snarky, laughing by the side of the ring. And Charlotte was, she was prissy. But this did not do any favors for either the champion or the contender. Now, we've got 3 more weeks. I have no doubt we'll spend that time beating the crap out of Nikki Cross. They'll both beat the crap. I mean, this is the fact at the end of the day, Nick, was that they took last week's booking, inverted it, and said, "You're welcome."
Let's do the same thing with Charlotte. Well, we'll put it on Miz TV and it'll be be great.
We're going to give you the exact same bite of food. We're just going to turn it upside down and expect it to taste different. It didn't advance Charlotte or Rhea. It didn't advance their feud.
It was just
the exact same damn thing.
They don't look like the insurmountable champion monsters that they should be booked as.
No, they look like fools.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Yeah. I got nothing else for this. Yeah, you know who else looks kind of a fool?
Kyle threw in 100 bits. He's got something else. He said, they've had Rhea Ripley for 6 months on the roster. She's been on TV now for 3 months. They have a segment with a Miz TV that's ideal to define character and motivation, and they still do nothing. How Rhea Ripley has been presented encapsulates everything wrong with Raw right now. Megastars forced to run in place and die on the vine because of a broken Monday Night Raw creative process. Even Drew isn't immune to it. At least Rhea got to be in a segment with her favorite wrestler growing up.
Kyle coming with the truth. That was perfectly. I got nothing else, Kyle. You just ended the segment. that was perfectly said.
My beef with this whole thing, however they present it, it needs to be Charlotte and Rhea. They did the right thing by excusing Asuka. I was bitter about how that got handled, but I think the right move happened. We excused Asuka, and we're just going to get Rhea and Charlotte. Why in the are you inserting Nikki Cross into this in the 11th hour before we get to Hell in a Goddamn Cell?
Because it's not the 11th hour. It's like the 3rd or 4th hour. We have 3 more weeks of TV we've got to get through, and you can't have it be Charlotte and Rhea the entire time. They've got to find other things to do. But having inverse booking from week to week is not the way to do it.
Not. And with Nikki Cross, I love Nikki Cross to death. She ain't the one.
No. But speaking of cocky heels getting themselves in trouble and looking like fools, Sheamus this week, who has really he's getting really deep into this gimmick he's got. That jacket and hat are
he's
doing
gone
something
full
to that
leprechaun
boy.
At this point.
He's got full.
Hand me
He's
gold.
all bent over. He's getting to the point where his accent is so thick it's hard to understand. He's starting to talk a little bit more like this. Hey, and they're coming over here, and these little boys think they can take me gold. But I'm not going to give him me gold. I'm going to hide it behind me flasher jacket. Yes, and me pork pie hat. Come at me, boys. I'll be taking y'all on. He's going all the way into it, Sheamus. And he said this week, in order to prove that these two guys are not on my level, I'm going to face Ricochet and Humberto Carillo one after the other. My goodness. Well, we go from barely being able to beat one of them to I'll take on both of them. As you can imagine, things did not go well for the champ as he was first facing Ricochet, distracted by Humberto Carillo, who came out in the middle of the match, got rolled up by Ricochet, was then furious at Humberto Carillo, started beating him down the way he's been beating him down the last few weeks, until Humberto Carillo legit broke his nose all over his face with an errant forearm. Sheamus immediately started just pouring blood out of his nose, which was intense.
The
but then
picture
he's
he
still
posted later where his nose was as wide as his eyes.
It's just. Do you remember when John Cena got kneed in the face by Seth Rollins, and his nose was just?
His nose was like on his cheek. It was just completely out of place.
It's like when you step on a dog turd and it just kind of like smushes to the side. You know, like it's fine at the top, fine at the bottom, and then the side is kind of like to the side. Nose looked like dog poop. But you know, props to the man for finishing the match and doing everything else and looking like a beast doing it. But he did get distracted by Ricochet, rolled up by Carrillo, and then so he's beaten by 2 guys. Another one of your champs. You've now had, let's see, Drew. Let's see. No, Lashley hasn't been pinned. Lashley got pinned by Kofi. You've had Rhea get pinned or beaten by Nikki Cross. Not pinned. She hasn't been pinned yet, but beaten by Nikki Cross. You've got Sheamus get beaten by 2 guys in one night. AJ Styles got pinned last week by Jackson freaking Riker. What is going on with how they're booking champions in WWE?
On Raw specifically.
Thank you. On Raw. Roman's sitting over there on SmackDown going, jabronis?
Yep.
What are you doing? Oh, my God.
At what point do they... this is my big question. Like, do they not get that what they're doing is wrong? Like, at some level, they have to be sitting back there with a huge joint going, you know what would be funny? Let's have Ricochet and Humberto Carillo come out and just, like, whip the shit out of it, and then Humberto can break his nose.
But it's the funny thing, because Sheamus...
It feels
Ricochet,
dumb.
But Ricochet looked like... Here's the way they booked this. Carrillo took a lot...
Uh-oh. Ian's dropping off. Oh, no. This hadn't happened in a while. Ian, come back. Baby, come back.
The lumps like that, more than he could chew.
Oh, there we go.
Hello.
Yep. Yay, Charter.
Yeah. All right.
What were you saying? Let's try that again. You're back.
Merely saying that so you have Ricochet come out, got some offense in, but ultimately needed help from Carrillo to win. Carrillo got beat down the entire time, needed help from Ricochet to win. And Sheamus, with the bloody nose, it actually helped the booking in the sense that it looked like he bit off more than he could chew, got his ass beat. So he's a cocky heel who got his comeuppance. Okay.
I'm not mad at that.
I'm not mad at that perception of it, but it's still not a great look for a champ, especially when it's falling into a pattern of having champs be beaten.
Yeah.
That's
when you're doing
problem.
this across every storyline on the show.
That's where I have the issue with it.
Yeah.
In theory, this booking works if you tell the story right. But when you see all these champs get beaten, it does make all your champs look like less than what they should look like.
A distraction finish is a great way to throw a curveball into something. But when you do it 5 or 6 times on a show every week, no wonder it's watered down, right? Kyle threw in 100 bits, said, I wish the production was made by people who were high. At least then it would be creative. It would be absurd, but at least it would be creative.
Speaking of people who are high, Matt Riddle. He and Randy Orton are a tag team now, and this week Randy Orton got to face off with Xavier Woods because last week Matt Riddle got to. Matt Riddle, of course, stole the RKO last week in order to beat Xavier.
And his pose at the end.
And he did the pose at the end, and this week, Riddle and Damian Priest, who are friends in real life, know each other for a long time, were talking backstage. Riddle was trying to learn Spanish from Priest, which was pretty funny.
Yeah.
And he said, hey, how do you say, hey, Randy? And Priest goes, hey, Randy. He goes, really? That was really easy. No. Randy's right here. I'm going to leave now. So Priest takes off. Excuse me. I'm going to leave now. Priest takes off.
I'm going to leave.
Thank you. Thank you, Damian Priest. No one imitates Priest like Damian Priest. Right. I appreciate that. Yeah. He takes off. Matt Riddle says, sorry for stealing your move last week. Randy says, it's okay. Come to the ring with me. You can watch me, maybe pick up something. I'll teach you a thing or two, kid. We go out to the ring. Randy Orton and Xavier Woods have a pretty good match. Xavier and Kofi, by the way, tonight, feeling their Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, both in some pretty, actually, slick duds. Xavier like the White Ranger, Kofi like the green. Nice. But ultimately, of course, Xavier Woods succumbs to Randy K. Orton because, of course, it's Randy Orton. He's not losing to Xavier Woods. But the interesting thing was he got Xavier hooked up, winked at Riddle, and gave him a bro Derek.
Riddle lost his mind.
That was the best thing about the segment was Riddle being like a kid. Exactly. Only way more excited. It was like someone switched his sativa with indica. He was so excited about this. He was like a kid whose hero, like, notice me, senpai. Yeah. Senpai noticed him. So it was a very cute. And Riddle goes to pose afterwards, and Randy goes like he's about to pose behind him, and then goes, pats him on the shoulders, and takes off. So still not 100% in on the RK Bro, but this is still probably one of the most entertaining things on Raw because it feels new and it feels fresh, and they're doing interesting things with it, and we're having fun segments with it, and it feels like everyone's on board, and Randy Orton's having a great time with it, even with his weird new facial hair goatee mustache combo thing. This is a lot of fun. Yeah. Can you find anything that you have? Do you have any beef about this, Nick, or are they doing the right thing with this so far?
I'm terrified of the inevitable Randy turns on Riddle bit, but right now I'm going to just ride this train until it happens. It's a good time.
I'm absolutely riding this train.
Yeah.
I'm totally riding this train because at the end of the day, our tag champions are AJ Styles and Omos, and RK Bro versus them would be fan-freaking-tastic. Yeah. It'd be certainly be a lot better than Elias and Jackson Ryker versus AJ Styles and Omos, which we did get last night.
Hey, Shemmy threw in 100 bits, said the biggest problem with Raw is we keep seeing the same match after match, feud after feud between each pay-per-view. Give us and your stars some variety.
Yeah, they've got one of the biggest rosters they've ever had.
You wouldn't know it.
Nope. Crazy.
Thanks, Ships.
Thank you very much, brother. But on that roster, Elias and Jackson Ryker getting a lot more time than a lot of people, which is pretty wild.
Elias backstage giving him a pep talk.
Yep.
It's the Memorial Day Raw. Ryker is a former service member.
He is. He served in Iraq, as he reminded us in that segment, staring off in the distance. Little. I don't know if they were like he's got PTSD. I don't know what they were trying to do.
Shell shock or something.
Yeah, it's odd. WWE is such a pro-military company. They like to celebrate every time there's any of those holidays, but they seem to get them mixed up because it's Memorial Day. Ryker is a vet. That's Veterans Day.
Yep.
Armed Service Day is for people that are still in uniform. Veterans Day is for people who have laid down the uniform. Memorial Day is for people who have served and passed on. As far as I can tell, Ryker hasn't passed on yet. Just an observation.
Yep.
But he almost did, because at the end of this match, after beating down AJ for most of it, who should come in but Omos? Right after Jackson Ryker goes for a hot tag on Elias, and Elias pulls back his hand and jumps off the apron, leaving Jackson Ryker to get murderized by Omos, who still looks awesome killing people. Awesome. And then he lets AJ tag in for the finish. And he gets his win back, gets his pin back on Jackson Ryker. Afterwards, Elias was asked why, and he said, I don't know, man, that guy, I thought he was with me at first, now he creeps me out. So, yeah, I really, when we're going back town to town, riding around, I don't want that guy riding in my car with me. So, yeah, I had to cut him loose. Oh, okay.
Cool.
I
mean, we'll just forget that he pinned one of the best wrestlers in the world last week.
Well, that wrestler got his win back this week. Yeah. Hashtag WWE.
The fact that he even came close to pinning AJ Styles, much less actually pinning him.
How are you not more excited by this? You're the man who once predicted that Jackson Ryker would main event WrestleMania. Is this a face turn for him?
He burned me.
Did he burn you? Yeah. Well,
I don't know. I've still got my own PTSD.
Yeah, he burned a lot of people.
Yeah.
I can almost see Omos grabbing him and be like, "What did you say on Twitter, man?"
Yeah.
Say it again.
Say it to my face.
Say it to my face. Look up and say it to my face.
Kyle threw in 100 bits, said Vince saw Cody's moronic America babyface run, said hold my beer. I can do even worse with Jackson effing Ryker with even more baggage than Cody was carrying at Double or Nothing. This broke me on Raw the rest of the night.
Yep. This one's tough.
Yeah, it's a mess.
If they actually try a face push for Jackson Ryker right before audiences come back, this might be the most entertaining thing on Raw, is watching the reaction when that guy comes out and they're trying to get him cheered. That's going to be interesting. Yeah. It's funny, Nick, just a quick aside here, because you and I have a personal history with Riker where we actually interacted with him a bit, and he was like the coolest guy. He was really cool to us. He was really cool to the program. So he's very complicated, where obviously we completely denounced the crap that he said on Twitter and, that viewpoint that he had. But at the same time, like, I can see why people like him, because in our interactions with him, he was really, really nice, like above and beyond kind, generous, nice guy. So Riker's a tough one. Nick, I know standing back, that's not the audience's perception, and it's not a lot of people's perception. And I don't think that Riker has properly addressed his opinions that he put out there that I think are troubling. So where do you think this leaves him, and where do you think this leaves the audience? Where do you think this leaves this whole thing, his possible face turn?
Is that what you think this is?
I mean,
that was my first question. I'm not sure if this is a proper face turn.
This is
like, are they going to flip him to feud with Elias first because Elias bailed on him?
Maybe.
That's probably the best way to go about it, but I would hope that AJ and Omos move on to the actual tag team wrestling division.
Think about it this way. You got a guy who audiences want to boo. You send Elias out there to piss off the crowd, insult the local sports team, or whatever it is he's going to do, right?
Yep.
The crowd's hot. They're pissed off. Out comes Jackson Riker to beat him up. Are they going to boo Jackson Riker for beating up the guy that they've just been crapping all over?
No.
It's the Miz effect.
Yep.
You send someone against him, they're automatically going to get cheered. So maybe that's their theory, is we're going to have Elias go out there, really piss off the crowd. Riker's going to come out to whoop up on this guy, and the crowd will cheer him. And that's how we get face Riker, for better or for worse.
God, how much crow are you going to eat when he main events WrestleMania in a couple of years?
I've said quite a few things about what I'm going to do when he main events WrestleMania, Nick. Some of them are probably going to be fairly extreme. It's going to look like the end of Saw 1.
Wow. You're going to saw off your own foot?
No, I'm going to lie face down in a bathroom for 4 hours, then pull off someone else's skin and stand up and walk out the back door. Oh. Spoiler alert. At any rate, so, I mean, like we were saying, they could be even doing a PTSD angle with him, right? He's a troubled vet.
Sure.
Somewhere Cutler and Wesley Blake are off just like tearing wallpaper off walls. God, son of a bitch!
I knew we should have skipped leg day.
Right.
Riker has never skipped leg day since he was born.
No. He got all the legs that Chris Hemsworth forgot about.
Yep.
Extinction apparently is the name of Mason T-Bar's tag team. That's what they were called for a hot second.
Okay.
On their way out. They cut a promo. They came to the ring, and actually their promo was played while they were standing in the ring looking fierce. Sasha Fierce. They were looking very fierce in the ring. And their promo played, Nick, and another inexplicably strange promo about how even lions need zebras, even sharks, great white sharks, need fish on which to feed.
Oh.
Yes, even mosquitoes need veins to suck. Even vampire bats need large, fluffy cows on which to nestle. Even alligators need scared, methed-up Floridians on which to munch. And Extinction needs Lucha House Party on which to gargle. And out came Lucha House Party, and they pretty much killed him.
Yep.
That was that.
Commentary was trying like hell to put over Lucha House Party, and it wasn't happening.
This was just, oh boy.
Yep.
Poor Mason T-Bar. Poor Lucha House Party, poor everybody.
Yep. We thought we were going to get a resurgence of Lucha House Party with some of those backstage promos they were cutting, but nope.
No. They got resurged right back into the mat. Poor Cedric and Alexander and Shelton Benjamin. They've had an ongoing feud ever since the Hurt Business broke up. They're having a rubber match tonight. Okay, we're talking about rematches. Rematches, boo. At least this was a rubber match for an actual feud, right? Shelton won one straight up. Cedric had to cheat to win one. In the third one, can Shelton overcome Cedric, or can Cedric actually beat him straight up? No, we get a 30-second match where Cedric squashes Shelton by poking him in the eye first thing, the way he beat him last week, and that's the match. Insult to injury to insult to injury, Nick. Mother of God.
I'm just going to sit over here and have some water. You're doing great.
The one time I'm on a rant now.
I hear you.
The one time you've actually got a real feud going on that we want to see rematches of, and you make the rematch irrelevant. You make us feel bad for even caring. What do you think about how they ended this? Where's Cedric going? Are they going to? Is there going to be a rubber match?
Hell in a Cell. It'll be a cell match.
Are you smoking what Matt Riddle's smoking? What? No, they're not going to have a Hell in a Cell match. This proved it. This proves they don't care about this feud.
I think they're going to have a cell match.
You want to make a bet on that?
No.
Okay.
Because I don't care enough.
Okay.
I love Cedric Alexander. We absolutely adore Shelton Benjamin. Absolutely. Minnesota Wrecking Crew, right? These are the kinds of matches we want these guys to have, and they're away from titles. A good old blood feud between two former teammates. It's Wrestling 101. It writes itself. This kind of shenaniganry, though, I don't want to see Cedric winning like this, chumping out Shelton like this. No, it's the wrong way to go about it.
Yeah. You couldn't find 5 more goddamn minutes somewhere
escalate, blow up. Blow off.
3-hour show. We couldn't have given them 10 minutes.
No.
7 minutes just to have a proper blow off. No. Okay. Thanks for making me watch those matches the last couple of weeks now that they're pointless for having to watch. And Naomi and Lana.
The whole Hurt Business thing. Speaking of PTSD, that still stings. Cal 300 bit said, honestly, I wouldn't mind a best of 7 between Shelton and Cedric. Hey, there's an idea.
Sure. Yes.
Something. Do something. You've got 2 amazing, talented performers with some of the most butter in-ring work in the business.
Yep.
And you're doing this. You're doing eye gouges.
You were handed a proper feud on this. They made a proper feud, and they just didn't pay it off. It's inexplicable.
Yep.
Inexcusable.
Yep.
Naomi and Lana had an actual match with Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke. This was a straight up women's tag match on this show, Nick. Natalya and Tamina on commentary, being extremely exciting.
Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke keep coming out every week with less and less material on their bodies.
Yes. Notice us, Daddy Vince.
Right.
It's working because they won the match.
Yeah.
And it looks like they're the next contenders for Natalya and Tamina.
And I think they'll win them.
They're not going to beat Natalya and Tamina. That's one of the things that Natalya and Tamina were putting over on commentary. They're like, it took us 10 years. It took Tamina 10 years to get a title belt. You are not taking it from her easily. And you know what? I believe her.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I don't.
Viking Raiders. Your boys. Viking Raiders.
War Machine.
Oh, sorry. War Machine. Yes. They felt very much like War Machine in the back, having words for young Mansoor, telling him, make sure you have like a good war cry. And like when we go back in the row for like the crowds, like just keep your chin up, kid. And yeah, you'll have a great time. And make sure you eat before every match. All right, cool. See you later. And Mansoor goes, thanks, guys. And he turns around and there's Mustafa Ali there in a nice little suit. Dick heel in a suit, Nick. Dick heel in a suit. Mustafa Ali saying, don't trust anybody. And Mansoor says, well, what should I do with you? And he says, now you're understanding, kid. Now you get it. Mustafa Ali versus Mansoor, a feud. Yeah.
Feed me. Yes.
Over under on that going straight to main event and not being on Raw. I'm sorry.
Highly probable.
Probably, yeah. Yeah.
We couldn't get Ali and Ricochet off of main event. And we've got Ricochet doing stuff with Humberto Carillo for the U.S. title. Look, there is a place where this could go, and I think I prophesized it at one point, where Ricochet does come in at some point, or Carrillo for that matter, and gets the title off of the U.S. title off Sheamus. That then leads to Ricochet, Carrillo, Ali, maybe even Mansoor, all feuding for the United States Championship. Put that in my freaking eye holes. Sheamus is doing great work right now, with a microphone mostly, and his attire and his gimmick. I want to see those guys going after the United States Championship. Sheamus, thank you for your service. I need to see some of these high flyers having baller ass matches, not just getting their asses whipped. So
keep it on until SummerSlam, though. Give them a reign.
Sure. I like what they're doing with
but
him, and with it, he now has a very badly broken nose, and I'm anxious to see what happens.
He's saying straight up on Twitter, he's like, I'm not taking time off. Not taking time off. Not doing it. Not gonna.
Because he's scared that he won't get his chance back if he leaves.
Because he's right.
Yes.
And he's right. Jeff Hardy is currently having a feud with Ali on Main Event. Jeff Hardy. Sheamus should be terrified.
Yeah.
Hold on to that belt, boy. Hold on to your gold. You big Irish bastard, you. Finally on Raw, Ava Marie had another segment showing her wrestling around in a ring, saying, that's right, I took everything I learned from WWE and went somewhere else to become a star. And now that I'm back, I'm going to show everyone everything I've learned and how good I am. And I'm here to save the division. I'm such a good wrestler. Yes, Nick. Another excellent promo for a walking botch machine and a wardrobe malfunction in the flesh. I got nothing for Eva Marie, man. I'm done. Got nothing.
Nope.
Don't care. Go away.
Don't care.
Booyah. Bye. See ya.
All the best. But
I'm hoping they're doing this. This is the same thing they were doing last time, where they're trying to get heat from all the smarks like us who are sitting here just going like, God.
it's working.
I'm hope they can't possibly be serious.
They can't possibly think that Eva
serious.
Marie is going to go up against Rhea Ripley and Charlotte Flair for the Raw Women's Championship.
Right.
They can't honestly think that, can they?
I've got to assume they're playing both sides against the middle here, and they're trying to get all of Eva Marie fans, everyone who lives in that weird alternate reality where she's actually good at anything. Those people are all excited. Oh, yeah, Eva Marie. Oh, I'm so excited. Oh, she's coming back to WWE. Oh, I'm so excited. And all the rest of us smarks over here, bitter smarks sitting here on the couch going like, you got to be goddamn kidding me. I'm assuming they're trying to play us both and get people excited on both sides and have a big reaction, cheers and boos. Just get a reaction, right? That's all you want, a reaction. I think at this point they're going to get it.
Dear Eva Marie, when you say that you left wrestling and became a star, listen to what you're saying and take your own advice and stay out of wrestling. Wow. Why?
Yeah.
You couldn't hack it, and you left, and you've got 1 million followers on Instagram over in a couple of years. You're doing photo shoots and adverts and magazine covers. What in the are you doing coming back to wrestling? One, we don't want you. Two, you're not any good at it.
But it's not about us, Nick. It's about the WWE, and they've long since abandoned caring about what their fans actually want and this sort of thing. She's the definition of a diva, like the diva era. They need another Nikki Bella. The Bellas aren't around anymore. They need one.
No, we don't.
In their minds, I'm just explaining their minds, their logic. What I imagine it. The only reason I can think it must be, again, if she comes out and they go back to the Eva Marie is actually a joke gimmick, but like the whole thing is they're acting like she's not a joke, but then in practice she actually is, right? Like with the announcer saying like Eva Marie will be 15 minutes late to her match, or all the gimmick they did last time, right? Right when she came to the main roster.
I'll vomit all over myself. It'll be terrible.
But that's going to indicate self-awareness.
We've spent 5 years getting rid of all that diva shit.
Fine. But
we've got to a point where the women's division across WWE and NXT is fairly well legitimized. We've got Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley as champions. Charlotte Flair is still whooping everybody's ass. Raquel Gonzalez and all of the other women over on NXT. We just brought in Frankie Monet, Taya Valkyrie, legendary female wrestler. We've got all of this happening in the women's division, and this is the bullshit we're going to go back to? Is this divas shit? So, I'm sorry. There's no way in hell I'm going to be happy about this.
Right.
In any way, shape, or form. It's insulting to us as fans, and it's insulting to all of the other women in the women's division.
I can't see her actually wrestling. I really can't. She'll get crapped all over.
Scuttlebutt says that she's going to be some manager. What is she going to bring to somebody that doesn't already have the chops?
A manager should be able to cut a promo. That's, yeah. Otherwise, you know what you are? If you're a woman in wrestling and you can't cut a promo, you know what you are? If you come out as a manager, you're a valet.
Yep.
So, now and that's fine. There have been some excellent valets who are very talented in history, but Eva Marie doesn't have a lot of those talents.
Nope.
At any rate, neither here nor there. We've spent way too much time on Eva Marie because at the end of the day, we'll find out if they're going to go for self-aware irony with her return or if they're actually going to try and take it seriously, at which point they will be promptly crapped on by most of the smart audience. Either way, it was a tough Raw last night, Nick. Very few bright points, a lot of salt in our wounds today, a lot of salt in our mouths. But that means, Nick, we need to cleanse our palate a little bit. We need to calm down, take a couple of deep breaths, woo-saw a little bit, and head over and do a segment we like to call our moment of positivity.
Mop, 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 mop.
The mop, the moment of positivity. That's right. It's the time on the show where we try to take all of that negativity, and we had quite a bit today. We apologize. All that negativity and throw it out the window, and we instead try to find something positive to focus on, to think about, to feel deep within our cold, black little hearts. And we try to think of something that's going to make us smile, something that's going to warm us on the inside, and send all y'all back out there with a smile on your face and some happiness in your hearts. Nick, what is your moment of positivity for this week?
Well, I kind of spoiled it earlier, but if you missed it,
go ahead,
Jimmy on commentary. It's exciting. Now, I'm a big Tom Phillips fan. I thought Tom Phillips was doing a fantastic job. I really did, legitimately. I think Vic Joseph has really found his place over on NXT. I think Cole and McAfee are working way better than I ever would have expected, but they haven't really been able to nail down Raw, and Adnan Virk just did not work. That rhymed. But I was really it was refreshing to hear someone that was new, but also knew their shit.
Yes.
And knew moves and who the players were and the lore behind them and the storytelling of what was going on and being able to do play-by-play. It's not easy to... I don't know that I could step in and do that watching wrestling for 30 years. Honestly, it's not easy. It's got to be one... And you've got someone in your ear constantly yelling at you.
Which is interesting, actually. He was interviewed about that this morning, and he said he didn't mind Vince in his ear. He's like, look, I've had people screaming at me in Bellator. Dana White didn't do it a whole lot, but he's like, I got 3 people in my ear. I usually have Michael Cole, and then I've got Kevin Dunn every once in a while cueing me, and Vince popped on every once in a while. But he's like, I'm used to that. I don't mind it, and I like it because usually it's Vince saying, well, what we say in WWE is this. And he's like, I like that stuff. I want to hear what you want me to say, and then I can say it. He says he likes having someone in his ear, which, dude, he's going to be great then. He's going to get along just fine.
Yep. Jimmy's going to be just fine. The sky's the limit for him as a center chair. I love it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that is absolutely, that'd be my mop if you hadn't stolen it.
What about you, Surrey and Dangerous? What do you got for us?
I want to try and challenge myself and find something that's not RK Bro, which is always the highlight of my Raw, and I look forward to it. I'm going to try and find something. I could use just how happy Nikki is to be on TV. She looks great. She's acting great. She's really blowing out the screen. She really comes through the sends all that energy out through the screen. It's great. If she can just hang on and keep TV time until the crowds come back, I think she will get over.
Is it weird that I have a harder time understanding her than like a Shinsuke or Asuka or Io? Her Scottish is so thick.
Well, you don't have my relatives.
No,
some of my Glaswegian relatives put her to shame. Oh boy, you got to have two or three glasses of scotch in you in order to understand them, and then you're like, oh yeah, right, I totally understand them. Right, okay.
You what?
Good in the public see. Yeah, sure. Man. I'm gonna say Miz and Morrison. I'm gonna say Morrison specifically.
Okay.
With his little moisture stick, his little what do you call it? His water gun that he called.
Yeah.
His
the moisture. I can't remember what it is.
Magical
the
moisture.
Kids were
one.
playing with it at the pool this weekend, right?
The drip stick. It's the drip stick.
stick.
I know so many people can't stand these guys. I know so many people are annoyed by their segment, but God damn it, their humor, they're just having so much fun. I can tell that they're just goofing off backstage, writing their stuff, and then going out there and they know how dumb their shit is. And the shit-eating grins on their face, Nick, as they're doing their segment, it makes me happy because I can see how much these guys are enjoying what they're doing.
When they burst out over laughing, reacting to something Charlotte said, I can't remember what she said, but and she would just go, "Are you guys finished?
Are you guys? You guys are such idiots." Yeah, I love it. I love that they know they're idiots. And I've seen people complain about the fact Miz and Morrison are being treated like jokes. I'm like, they are happily going out there and being goofballs. Look at them. They're having the time of their lives. They're being paid 6 figures, possibly 7 in terms of Miz, to go out there. You're going out there with your best friend, and you're just talking shit to each other and goofing off and making stupid jokes.
And making stupid money doing so.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Sign me up. Sign me up for that job.
So how many... Here's another little side moment of positivity thing. Look back at Miz over the last decade and how many sidekicks he's gotten over. Miz Dow, B-Team, Johnny Drip Drip. All of this. It's all Miz. And it's one of those things that I look back on, and I don't think we appreciate.
I'm not going to mention Eminem.
Okay, we don't even respect or appreciate in the moment. But I mean, look at all of these. It's kind of his thing.
It's not even that. I mean, I don't. We got to end the show here at some point. I'll end on this. It's the fact that Miz has made himself a bulletproof career.
Yeah.
In WWE, he's made himself bulletproof. He can lose in a humiliating fashion and be right back in a main segment of TV next week. Yep. He can do something completely idiotic and still be back in a segment next week on TV. He won the goddamn WWE Championship this year. This is a guy, everything is coming up Miz. So, and he suffered and did the work for it.
Yep.
So you know what? If there's someone in WWE who's my hero, it's the Miz. So There you go. It's my moment of positivity.
Cal threw in 100 bits, says, my mop is Rhea getting to do a segment with Miz. Just the idea of being someone who grew up cheering their favorite wrestler coming full circle to do a segment with Miz.
Yeah.
That's kid in a candy store giddiness inside, and I'm happy for her. Rare are those kinds of moments. Yeah, that was good stuff. Sheppy threw in 100 bits, said, I just wish they would actually let Morrison wrestle a real match.
Well, touche. That would be nice.
Yeah.
That would be nice.
Thank you guys very much for those mops and the bits. Guys, we are going to take a quick 10-minute break, after the outro here. But we'll be back doing the BWO Mailbag AMA show, which is one of our favorite things to do. So we're going to take a quick break after the outro. Let everybody refill their drinks. Quick bio break. We'll throw the synthwave music back on, let everybody jam a little bit. But let's just say, let's say 15 minutes. Let's say we'll come back at 30 after the hour.
Perfect.
And we'll get some time to give everybody some time, but
enough time for some tequila.
Yeah, we'll do a couple of shots. We'll have a good time.
Yeah.
Get over that Raw that we just had to go over that nobody else seems to have wanted to go over, but we still did. And now we understand why, because it was a shit show. Linktree.com/BWO is where you find all the links to all of our stuff. Head over to BWOmerch.com. Pick up some hot new merch, some of the new BWO Funhouse merch with the new tunes that you guys can see all across our new graphics and all across our social media profiles now. We made some merch stuff for you guys. Got some more on the way. I got some other interesting perks and stuff that we're going to be unveiling this week, so stay tuned for that. Little hint for you patrons. We've got a little goodie for you guys. Let's see what else. Thank you guys for all the support, patrons. We got a lot of questions to go over with you. Don't miss out on it. We'll be back at 30 after for the BWO Mailbag. But until then, my name is Nick Howell. You can find me on Twitter at DataCenterDude.
And I am Sir Ian Dangerous. You can find me on Twitter at Sir Ian Dangerous.
Bye-bye! my God!
Would somebody stop the damn match?
This show is part of the Orbital Jigsaw Network. For more episodes, subscribe to us on iTunes, Google Play, or Stitcher Radio. For details and show notes from each episode, check us out, orbitaljigsaw.com.